Well, hey, this is Dr. Rhonda Simmons, and I am your speaker transformation connector. Yes, I know that's a mouthful, but that's what I help speakers do. I help them create transformations in their audiences through their words. It's so important that you know how to connect with your audience. And I am so glad to be with you today because today we're going to be talking about 7 tools to keep your audience engaged until the end. You know, if you look at statistics and how long people will watch a video, they only typically watch videos for a few seconds before they keep scrolling. Whether they scroll up, left, or right, they only have a few seconds to watch you. So, we're going to talk about ways to increase the likelihood that your audience will stay engaged until the end. That is so important because you've worked hard on your speech. You've worked hard on preparing what you have to say, and you're adding value to your audience, and you don't want them to miss it. I don't blame you. Like I ended the session yesterday talking about my 6th grade graduation, where I was a valedictorian, and the bell rang in the middle of my speech. I was determined after all the time and effort I had put in, they were going to hear what I had to say that day. And so you have to make sure that you are engaging your audience all the way until the end. And so there are 7 tools that you can implement to help you do that. The first thing is you want to vary your tone. You definitely don't want to sound monotone like this. No, that is not what you want to do. Your tone of voice is everything. People will be able to form opinions about you and perk up because of their tone, because of the tone that they hear you putting out there. And so you want to sound engaging. You want to sound like someone to be listened to. And by using dynamic speaking to avoid monotone, that will help your audience stay engaged. It's so important that you do that because there are certain parts to your speech that are more profound and you want to create an impact. So vary your tone. I've even learned as a school teacher, when students come into the class and they are so rowdy and they're so loud and they're talking all over the place, the last thing you want to do is be that teacher that yells over top of the kids to be quiet. You're doing the very thing you're telling them not to do. But if you want to get their attention, yes, you stopped and looked at me right then. Yes, you did. I felt it. Because silence and getting quieter makes people lean in because they want to hear what you have to say. The second tool is to ask rhetorical questions. Ask those questions that they don't necessarily have to answer, but it will definitely make them think. And so you want to engage your audience mentally. Ask those rhetorical questions. Then use stories. If you've been keeping up with these training sessions that I've been giving, uh, I'm telling a story in every one, at least one, because I guess my life is just full of snippets of stories to be shared, and they're all true. But use stories, make them relatable narratives to your audience that will captivate their attention. And so, obviously, you want your story to fit the topic that you're discussing. It needs to make sense. You don't want to stop in the middle of something. Let's say you're talking to a team of engineers, and all of a sudden you start talking about bananas. Hmm. You want to make sure that your stories align with the topic and that they are relatable so that people can feel what you feel and go with you on this journey in your speech. You want to add humor. I guess that just comes naturally to me. I'm just like that. But you want to add some humor, very natural, very light. Humor makes your talk more memorable. Make sure that your humor, of course, doesn't cross any lines. We want to make sure we keep our diversity, equity, and inclusion intact in the midst of what we're trying to say. But, lighthearted humor, is great for your speech. You want to incorporate visuals. Most of the time, I use slides when I'm giving a speech, not because I don't know what I'm talking about, but because it keeps my audience engaged, because it gives them something else to look at besides me, but without losing track of the topic. But when I use slides, it also keeps me on topic. It helps me remember, stay the course, don't go down any rabbit holes, stay on topic, don't lose yourself or your audience. So, incorporating visuals, if you're not going to use a complete slide deck, if you're talking statistics, you definitely want to use a slide to help make your statistic more understandable to your audience, and the graphic will help them digest what you're saying and get the full impact. And so, for example, if I say 1 in 5, or let's say 3 in 5 students, are failing because they don't eat breakfast. I'm just making that up. I don't know if that's a true statistic, but I'm trying to give you an example. Those words may not be as impactful as seeing what 60% of something looks like on a graphic. So use those visuals to your advantage because it will help engage your audience and increase impact. You want to pause for effect. This is powerful. I could share a story with you right now, but I'm going to wait. There'll be another lesson where I'll share it. But there's a particular true story of my life that I really want to share. And every time I share it, the reason why I pause for effect is not just for effect, it's because I always have to take a breath because I get choked up sometimes. So I know I can't be bawling in front of my audience, but pausing for effect is so powerful. It intensifies the impact of your message. It intensifies the relatability of the point you just made, and it keeps your audience engaged. You want to pause for effect so that the audience can think about it, so that they can relate about what you just said. You don't want to just keep going forward in a speech and you're just talking at the air. You're talking to people. You're talking to human beings who hurt like you hurt, who bleed like you bleed, who have emotions just like you. Relate to that. Connect with your audience. And so pausing for effect will be powerful. Give your audience that time to reflect. And finally, you definitely want to end every speech with impact. You don't want to just say the end and walk away. No, sir. No, ma'am. That is not how we do it. You want to conclude with a strong takeaway or strong challenge. In other words, you want to give them a call to action. Let me put it to you this way. When you're giving a speech, you're going to tell the audience what you're going to tell them. Then you're going to tell them what you plan to tell them. Then you're going to remind them of what you said you were going to tell them. And then at the end, you're going to give them a call to action about what you told them. What are they supposed to do with all of this information you just dumped on them? You've got to end with impact. So let's go over these 7 tools to keep your audience engaged. Number 1, vary your tone. It's important. If you're talking about something serious, you shouldn't be laughing. And if it's something funny, you shouldn't be so serious that they don't know whether it's a joke or not. Vary your tone. Number 2, ask a rhetorical question that will keep your audience engaged mentally. Number three, use stories to your advantage. That is the key that will help you link the facts of what you're sharing with the outcomes and transformation you're trying to produce. That story is the key. Let me pause just for a moment because in the comments below this video, there is a link to my free guide, absolutely free, 5 steps to creating your signature story. You want to get that workbook, you want to get that guide because it will help you create a signature story that you can use like rinse and repeat all the time. You'll fit and frame your speeches around that signature story. So you'll know that you're always including that story or some section of it that is applicable for the speech that you're giving. So again, vary your tone, ask rhetorical questions, use stories, add humor, keep it light, keep it tasteful, keep it respectful, but don't be afraid to let your funny side show. Add humor, incorporate visuals. This is profound because if you have done your research in your speech, there should be some verifiable information in your speech that may be statistical. And the best way to convey the impact of statistics to your audience is by using graphics or visual tools, whether it's a complete slide deck or just a picture. That picture, as they say, is worth 1,000 words. It really is. It will increase the impact of what you're saying. Number 6, pause for effect. There should be in every speech that one profound statement that if they don't forget anything else, if they don't remember rather anything else, they'll remember that one statement. And when you make that statement, pause for effect. Let me give you an illustration. You know how, let's say Netflix, you're binge watching a series, and every episode has a theme, and then it has a 140 character description. If you listen and watch carefully, somewhere during that episode, someone is going to state that theme. They're going to restate that theme somewhere in something that they're saying, no matter how emotionally charged the moment may be. Someone is going to make that statement to remind the audience without saying, hey, I'm reminding you of this episode's topic and theme. They're going to say that topic or theme for the episode. Pause for effect, because that is the nail that you want to drive home. Give your audience the opportunity to reflect. And finally, end with impact. You want to conclude your speech with a strong takeaway, a strong challenge, a strong call to action. You're going to tell your audience what to do or what to think or what to feel. That is why when you're planning your speech, before you even start the first paragraph, decide on what is the goal of your speech. What is the transformation you hope to inspire? What emotions do you want your audience to feel? So you want to end with impact. You want to ensure that your audience got the message and now they're going to do something about it. So, which of these 7 tools do you want to try first? Do you want to try varying your tone, asking rhetorical questions, using stories? Do you want to try adding humor or incorporating visuals? Or do you want to try pausing for effect or ending with impact? So just jot in the comments below which one you want to try. This would have been a good time for me to show a visual of these 7 tools. It just makes sense, right? So make sure that you are creating the impact that you want and engaging your audience all the way until the end of your speech, because it will make your speech more profound. I hope that you've enjoyed this little mini lesson today. I'll be back again tomorrow to teach you something else. I would tell you, but I don't want to be the spoiler alert. So until the next time, I'll see you then, and enjoy creating your signature story. Ready to captivate audiences and transform your voice into a tool for impact? The Transformative Speakers Academy is a 3-month journey to master storytelling, conquer stage fear, and speak with confidence. Enrollment closes soon. Join today.